And do I ever enjoy working with the next person? So, hello, Kimberly.
Hello. I apologize, my background doesn't show up, but my computer actually doesn't have the configurations to do the background.
Of course, because you're probably one of our zero folks, like I am. We can talk about that later.
Yeah. Oh, it's so good to see you. I'm sorry, my heart's just singing to see you, Miss Friendly.
I really enjoy seeing you. So the 31 of you that are on the call right now, if you could just hang out, Kimberly and I would like to reconnect. Kimberly, could you tell us your name and what your job title is here at Lookout?
Sure. So my name is Kimberly Snow, and I'm the Senior Director of Compliance here for Lookout. And I have actually been here almost 4.5 years. I joined in December of 2017.
4.5 years of the best job you've ever had.
Right?
People, especially recruiting. It's incredible.
Yeah.
And so tell me a little bit more about your job and what it involves.
So my job is kind of like all of the bits of the organization from a compliance perspective. So, and it touches upon, I'm so glad I was able to join today and pay attention to most of the conference, because we're talking about all the things that my team does. So we do everything from our certifications around frameworks, because there was something about the NIST framework that I caught a little bit of that. Also making sure that we have appropriate technical measures in place to secure our customers, to secure our organization, and as well as working across the organization to make sure that we're meeting customer needs as well as internal employee needs. So I feel like I have my fingers in everything on any given day.
Yeah. Tell us more about the other things that your team does. There was this little thing called FedRAMP that your team got involved with. So tell me more about the roles on your group. What do they do?
Sure. Right. So now I'm a team of two. At one point, I was a team of two, then I was a team of one, and now I'm a team of two again. I have a compliance administrator. Her name is Eileen, and administrator does not necessarily even describe all of the amazing things that she does. And one of the things that we do is make sure that from a requirements perspective for customers, so the federal government is our customer, that we are meeting their certification requirements. So we went through FedRAMP certification 3.5 years ago-ish. We just came through our final surveillance audit for this round. And, I think there were 314 controls that we had to meet, hundreds of pieces of evidence to prove that we meet their standards, interviews. I think we have 17 policies and probably 23 to 30 procedures to support the government, and working closely with them on a weekly basis to make sure that we are satisfying things like continuous monitoring, which involve vulnerability scanning, vulnerability resolution, communications, and making sure that as the government comes up with deeper standards around security, that we are either meeting them or exceeding them. So it's a big job. I do coordinate a lot with the Matrix team, with engineering, IT, security, human resources, product. Pretty much everybody is involved in that program, and we meet constantly. And it's good though, because I think it's a good team building exercise internally. It keeps a focus on compliance, and it keeps a focus on internal security as well.
Yeah, for sure. Hardest part about your job
is probably when we need to make any technical changes, to have them put in queue and be addressed, because our customer comes first. And sometimes if there's technical debt that we need to resolve, just making sure that we can balance those two things out. Honestly, here at Lookout, that's an easier job than it's been in other places, because we do have full executive buy-in for these programs. And it's a key component.
Which is rare, absolutely. Which is
not going to succeed if you don't have support from on high.
Absolutely. Most enjoyable thing. I know this is your best job ever, so tell me what's so enjoyable about it.
It's the people. Honestly, I took this job at Lookout because when I went through the interview process, they were the nicest people I had ever interviewed with. I actually had a friend here who I worked with at a previous job who, gave me the inside scoop on joining Lookout. And, even some days when the actual tasking is kind of brutal, the teams are great. We get on calls and we laugh, and we all know each other like family, and we know all about each other. And so it really has become more about the people I mean, the work is important, but it really is about the people as well.
Yeah, oh, completely agree. Completely agree. Can you tell us about your journey? We have a lot of folks that I speak to through Day of Security events who are very interested in your field. Can you tell us about how you got started and then what your journey looked like up until your current role?
Sure. So compliance actually found me, which is interesting. My undergraduate is in social work. And a lot of my passions lie far beyond the pale of what Lookout does. I mean, yoga, meditation, all of the social services things are what I do as my side gigs. And I think that was a big part of my success when I decided to step into technology. And, you know, I stepped into technology at like the dawn of the internet. So I'm going to probably reveal my age. But, you know, I was fortunate enough that I was interested in the people all the time, and I was interested in what they were working on. And through that process, I got to meet the most brilliant folks who were inventing the bits that we use every day now. And was, you know, identified in leadership roles early on. So I come from a strong project management and program management background, and I understand technology. So those are the two things that I was able to marry. And was an administrator. I started off as the administrator for the year 2000, the Y2K program, and became, you know, technical project manager, technical program manager, product manager. Was in high tech for like 7 or 8 years. Then I moved over into technology and healthcare. So did that whole thing I worked for Blue Cross Massachusetts, doing internal implementations. And that was it was a very socially oriented, technically oriented position. And then, did some more product development, landed at Oracle. And when I landed at Oracle, that was actually when I started doing more of the compliance things. So, you know, working in healthcare, it was when, HIPAA and all those regulations started to come out. So as my career has evolved, it has made sense for me to go into compliance, because in order to execute on the programs, you need to understand the compliance regulations. Also part of leadership. So a big part of my role here at Lookout is it's program management. Compliance is a giant program, and it's making sure that, you know, understanding the requirements of what the program needs, understanding what the organization needs from a customer perspective as well, and then, you know, just implementing all of those things. I mean, we have a huge roadmap, we have big checklists, you know, and it's really making sure that I don't create the security position, but I make sure that the security position happens. So, you know, Grant, who is our security officer, working with him, you know, do we have all the bits configured the right way, and, you know, all those things. So it really did kind of find me. And I think it found me as well, because from a social work background training, understanding the team dynamics, so that when things feel really overwhelming, I can keep the team together and keep the team moving forward, and then be the mouthpiece, right? So when things are frustrating or we need to deliver bad news, I'm also the one who gets to go and do that stuff, which doesn't happen very often.
And I can tell the crowd right now that your meditation classes are incredible. We actually had them at Lookout, and it creates a whole different environment for just slowing down and connecting. And I mean, you said to us, I remember at the very beginning, okay, we're going to breathe. And I'm like, what? You know, aren't I doing that? And, you know, it was just took a minute to be able to come down.
The concept of consciously breathing.
What do we do with that? I'd like to ask you a question I've never asked you before. When you are interviewing folks, let's say that you're interviewing someone that's more on the entry level side, or someone that has been in their career for a while and has pivoted to your area, what are the couple of the things that you look for, whether they've been in the workforce for 20 years or for 20 minutes? What do you look for in a candidate?
Sure. Honestly, curiosity and likability. Because if someone if they're curious enough and they're likable enough, they get along well with others, you can pretty much maneuver through this environment, doing compliance effectively. It's this a leader that I worked with before, and his formula was education and skill set times 1 times likability times 3 equals what the hireability equation is. So if you know all your stuff, that's great. But if you don't get along well with others and people don't want to work with you, then it's going to be a no-go. So
Yeah.
if folks come in with a positive attitude and they're willing to learn, it will get you the job with me anyway, all day long.
Yeah. And I would work for you any day, although I have an amazing boss, Missy. I would work for you any day. So that's a very difficult thing to learn, to understand, to put into context, which is likability. And one thing that I can say is that everyone defines it differently.
Mhm.
And I think one of the most important things in a work environment is to ask other people, how do I show up? Right?
Mhm.
What do you experience? What do you learn? What are your insights into areas that I can go up an octave or down an octave? But asking the question about to someone else, how do I show up, is really, really important. And that's
Yeah.
hard to do, to be vulnerable and ask questions. Would you agree?
Yeah. The person Eileen, who's been working with us for almost a year now, she was so enthusiastic and friendly and at ease with herself. And she was just finishing up a master's degree, and that was good, but I really enjoyed her company.
Yeah.
And so, and I haven't met her in person yet. She lives in California. I live here on the East Coast. And we have a great relationship, and it's a big thing. And yeah, knowing how you show up for work every day, and also being yourself. So interviewing, just be yourself, right? If you're nervous, say you're nervous. I would rather have somebody come to me and say, I'm really nervous. I'm really looking forward to this, and that gives me the opportunity to say, okay, let's just calm down, take a breath.
Yeah.
And, let's just have a dialogue.
Yeah.
And the interview process has changed so much over the past 10 years, right? It's no longer this like hunt and peck and guess that you have the right answer. It's really people wanting to get to know each other.
That's exactly right. And, put on another layer of complexity of remote working. Look at us really proud to say that we want to create an environment where people show up in their best way and create an environment where they can be productive inside of work, but we all know family is more important, right? To be honest, whatever that support system may look like for you. So we do support remote work, and it takes a little bit more effort. Like you're mentioning, your employees on another coast, checking in, having just a few more touch points. Would you agree is really, really important in order to get a temperature of how people are doing?
Yes. And I would take that one step further is I like that in the work at home environment, people can take care of themselves. They can take care of their family. So when they do show up, they don't feel like they are sacrificing as much as we used to feel like we were sacrificing when you didn't see anybody 8 to 10 hours a day.
Yeah.
And that, having a healthier, more focused brain because you're not stressed out about everything else in your life helps you be more performant in your role. And then when you step away from your role, you can be more performant in your personal life. So,
true.
It is a finer balance now.
It is so true. There's this old saying where people may come for the brand or for the logo of the company, but they stay for the boss and the environment that they're in. And I really believe that. I really believe that, everyone, regardless of gender identity, juggles so much, right?
Totally. Yeah.
And just figuring out how to build that relationships internally, right? How to build the relationships with your boss and your coworker so that there's a trust. One of my wisest mentors once said to me, the most important thing you can do in a company is to build your brand. And if, for example, you have a good brand and I don't show up for a meeting, someone might say, oh, what's wrong with Brenly? She didn't show up. If I had a bad brand, they would say, that's just like Brenly. She didn't show up, right? Exactly. And so as you look, for those of you looking for an opportunity or currently in your career, as you look about how you manage your brand, which I think is really important. If you're not sure about what those optics are, just ask, right? Especially, if you're in as complicated of a role as you are, Kimberly, and working with so many. Would you agree to that?
I do, yeah. And the other part you touched on, which is show up as yourself. Yeah. And if you find a company and you don't feel like you can show up as yourself, it's not the right company for you.
Yeah.
I worked in multicultural, diverse environments, and there were situations where the leadership wasn't necessarily the right leader for the environment. And as soon as that person stepped aside and people could flourish and be who they were, so much more got done. Because people walk down the hallway and have a conversation and talk about their weekend and wear the clothes they wanted to wear and didn't have to feel like they had a shield up. That's really important to me, is that, and that's why I work here, is because people don't have to pretend they're not somebody who they are not, right? It's just, it makes it so much better.
It's so true. And, once again, I always bow to you in your ability to handle really complex groups, really diverse groups, right? You serve at the pleasure of many different individuals coming at you all at the same time. Your organizational skills are unbelievable, right? I want you to come over and arrange my home. Your ability just to migrate up and down the organization and work with so many different types of people. I think the diversity of the type of work that you do really lends itself to those type of characteristics.
Yeah, and it's fun. I love that. I love dealing with different dynamics and different people and different situations, and being able to. I love when I walk into. This is going to sound bizarre. I love when I walk into a situation that is tense and people feel stuck, and I can help unwind that and have the meeting, and whether it's in person or not, having some solution or resolution or plan forward. That's always my goal, is to make sure that we can keep things moving forward in a positive way.
Oh, fantastic. Talk about positive. Are you ready? Thank you so much for what you shared with us today, but I'm going to announce some winners of some AirPods. Yes, you're here for it, right? We bring joy. But Kimberly, thank you. Thank you for always being willing to share, being so authentic, and helping folks along the way. And if you guys want to get in touch with Kimberly, please connect with her on LinkedIn or reach out to any one of us. Okay, the winners. For the first round of AirPods, it goes to, and please forgive my pronunciation if I have it incorrect, goes to Myra. Myra, congratulations. And Myra, we are going to have an individual from my team reach out to you to get additional details. And it's Myra, here it comes, Perseni. I hope I had that right. Congratulations, Myra. Second winner, we ready? Second winner is Kimberly Snow. I'm kidding, it's not you, Kimberly Snow.
No, it's not.
The second winner is Natalie Ladra. Natalie Ladra, congratulations. We look at Myra. Ooh, congratulations, Natalie and Myra. We are so excited to offer you a couple of sets of AirPods, and members of my team will reach out and get your information so we ship them your direction. So congratulations. Again, we will be raffling off yet another set. My team doesn't know that I'm offering another set, but I'm going to. Be present at the end of our session to win. Please fill out additional forms. You can find them at the bottom of the screen, and we'll have a drawing at the top of the hour. So Kimberly, thank you so much.
Thank you, it's been my pleasure.
Okay, we'll talk soon. Bye-bye.
Bye.